Hi friends, welcome to Tech Arkit YouTube channel. My name is Ravi. In this video session, we are going to see the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner course. The next video is about how pricing calculated. So how the pricing is calculated on AWS. So this is not an easy topic to learn, but there are more complex cost calculations involved. To simplify that, how the costing is done. So let's see that. So the first one, compute. So whatever the services you use on the compute, right? So it might be the EC2 instance or Fargate services or Lambda services or whatever the services you use on compute like CPU, memory, storage, and the network utilization. So that's the compute they charge for. So how much compute you are using, like what is the size of the compute you are using, and how many hours you are actively using. So that's the price calculation comes in, the first one. The second one is storage. So like which storage you are using and which region of the storage you are using, how much data is stored on that particularly. So example, for the most of the uploads are free, but if you download it, they cost for that storage. But if you store the data, like what type of storage you are using, like you are using the high performance storage or low performance storage or SATA drives, SSD drives, or SAS drives or archival purpose storage. So which storage you are using. So based on that and which region you are using, based on that, the price has been calculated. The price will be calculated. Data transfer rate. So like how you are transferring the data. So you are uploading the data. Most of the uploads what you do, which are not cost match, but if you do the downloads, like the retrieving the data from any of the storage to your local infrastructure, that cost. Here there are something like put request, get request, and query request, data transfer inbound, outbound, all will be calculated and they will be priced based on the how data you transferred, how aggressively you are transferring the data, and how aggressively you are retrieving the data. So that's all price will be calculated. Let's see what are the AWS offers. So what AWS provides the offers to the customers. So the first one is AWS free tier. Like this is a program that provides the customer with the free access to certain AWS services for 12 months. So you can freely use most of the services on the AWS for free. So it's not all of the services, but it to the certain level. So you get familiar with the AWS console and practices all of the stuff. So they give the free tier access to the AWS console. Next one, always free offers. There are some always free offers. This is a program that provides customers with free access to certain AWS services even after initial 12 months period of the AWS free tier has been expired. Example, if you put a Lambda request, right? So how many programs you store on the Lambda, so it does not cost you anything, but how much you're running. So there are millions of request number of requests you can run on the Lambda, which are always free. That's the thing you can say that as a always free offers on the AWS. There are some trails. Trails means the trail versions they provide, like whenever they launch a new service. AWS offers trails for certain services that are not included in AWS free tier are always free offers. This trail typically lasts for a limited time period and allows customers to try out the service before committing to pay the subscription. So example, say if you want to try some services, new services, so you can also do like take the trial version of it and try it for. So this is not available for all the services, but some of the services for some customers only is available for the trial versions, like you can use that so before taking any subscription model for that particular services. So this is also one of the offer AWS provides. Another offer which provides is that Amazon credits. Credits means AWS offers credits to the customers who qualify for certain programs. Like most of the services they use on the AWS are cloud native services, or lot of resources they actually purchase. Example, so such as AWS active program for startups. So like you are a new company, just you are trying to build your company and you need some IT resources. So if you deal with AWS, then they provide some credits to you. So these credits can be used to pay for AWS services and can help offset the cost of running applications on AWS. So this is very important that some of the credits they allocate to that particular company if it is a startup, or just most of the customers they are afraid to go to the cloud, say that hey, it might cost more. Then if it is at all cost all more, then how can I come back from that and try a new one? So to avoid such a scenarios, AWS provides some credit to use freely. Then then they go and try to use that and using that credits, and they get confident and they can use the services on the AWS. Let's see. So this easy to pricing models I already explained in a first or second videos in detailed model. But let's see what are those pricing models in a broader way, that how it costs affecting the pricing services like on-demand resource. This pricing model is best for workloads that a short-term or unpredictable workloads. Example, say you are running in a startup company. So I don't know yet that okay, what are the services are going to be, how many users are going to reach that, and I don't have any prediction at this moment. So that's the on-demand pricing model you can use for any services which are on demand. Next one is savings plan. So savings plan is that you have to tie up with the AWS saying that hey, I want it to be reserved these instances for like 3 years or 5 years. So I would require some savings plan. Then if you have the predictable um, approach, like from this year to next 3 years, I'm going to use these type of resources. I'm very confident on that. Then you can go with the savings plans, and you can pay like 20-30% or 50-50% or upfront, totally upfront cost. Then they save a lot in the long run. Reserved instances. So these are the actually workflows that are predictable usage patterns. You have predictable usage pattern. You wanted to reserve that for committing like 1 or 3 years. I wanted to use the same instance for a certain period of time, so that you get like 65-70% of saving on that particular instances, right? Spot instances. These are actually the unused EC2 capacities, so offering a significant savings. Like these instances, actually somebody is released EC2 instance, then it is a free. It does is not running any workloads over there. Then you can just grab those spot instances and bring for your temporary workloads. Then it saves a lot of cost to the company. Dedicated host. So you can also, like if you have the regularity compliance requirement and you wanted to have the dedicated host, and you reserve that dedicated host for certain time, then it can also save you the cost and pricing models on this. So if you come to the storage, so how the storage pricing model works, like storage class. Example, say the ST storage class. I already explained in a detailed in the video, saying that what storage classes you have, or which storage class costs how much, and how can save the storage cost on storing the data in different types of ST storages, right? So you have a standard ST storage, infrequent access, glacier, like archival purpose. So which storage class you are storing the data, that's important. Then that based on that, the cost will be incurred. And storage, like where you are storing, like a region, location, and all this stuff considers one of the pricing factor. Data transfer, like how much you are uploading and how much you are retrieving, and so from which storage type you are uploading, which storage type you are retrieving. So this all matters on the pricing model, like it also occurs on the pricings and request and data retrieval. So example, say you don't have any small data requests, so many calls, API calls you do, like get request, put request, get request, put request, get request, post request, something like that. Instead, example a scenario here is that you have a one folder which are text files or JSON files or some XML files, a lakhs of millions of files on the one folder. So instead, what you can do is that you can just compress and upload it is a single request. But if you upload the same data to the storage on the AWS, is a million requests. So that differentiate the cost, like while you're uploading and retrieving the data. So that's also matters comes to on the storage pricing model. So here, most of the companies basically, whenever you are using on the AWS services, this called as a TCO. So the total cost of ownership. So how the total cost of ownership has been calculated and what parameters basically they look for or you should look for while calculating the total ownership. So AWS TCO means the total cost of ownership is methodology that helps customers estimate the total cost of running their applications on AWS compared to running them on premises or in traditional hosting environment. So you have to compare what your on premises cost and what is AWS cost. So it's not only that you run a EC2 instance over there and what is the cost over there, and you run a server over here, what is the cost. But there are certain parameters you can look for, right? Example, hardware and infrastructure cost. So this includes the cost of purchasing and maintaining the servers, storage, networking equipment, and other hardware necessary to run applications on premises. Example, put the hardware. So that hardware require, if you purchase a server, that requires the storage. So that's required the network connectivity. That's required the hardware maintenance cost, and that also requires the application cost as well. Like OS cost also it includes on that. Labor cost like maintaining a IT professional team. You have to put some IT admins to manage and maintains those on-premises infrastructure, like networking equipment, security equipment, and application development, all this stuff. So that also you have to consider in a TCO, the total cost of ownership. A facility cost. Example, you need to have the data center, you need to have the power connectivity, and you need to have the space available to put those racks and servers and everything, right? So that's going to be the cost of building and renting the physical facility of ours on the on-premises infrastructure, including the rent, utilities, and maintenance cost. So that's going to be the facility cost you have to calculate. And software cost, example, you have to purchase the software licenses, updates, maintenance, operating system, databases, like whatever the applications you have, ERP applications and monitoring applications and everything to be calculated on that particular one. So that's going to be the other one. Like miscellaneous things, example, say that running an applications on premises such as like backups, disaster recovery, security, complaints, auditing, this all comes under the total cost of ownership. So total cost of ownership helps customer to estimate the cost of running their applications on AWS by taking into the account the above factors, comparing them to the cost of running the same application on premises or traditional hosting environment. This allows customers to make informed decisions about which environment is the most cost effective for their workloads. AWS also provides the estimations, like the AWS estimations. If you want to compare the estimation, how much does it cost for the month, how much does it cost for here, how much does it cost if I take a reserved instance or saving plans or the spot instances or on-demand instances and storage, so and so service. So you can calculate everything on the pricing models and the estimates you can also get before going to do on the AWS. So that's going to be a total cost of ownership you have to calculate to compare your on-premises costing and the AWS costing while you do any migrations or anything. Have you basically calculates if I wanted to migrate my services from on-premises to the cloud? Then what is the parameters you have to take, but you don't know what are the applications you have, what are the types of instances you have, what is the types of instances you have to choose, all this stuff, right? So application discovery service which AWS provides is a cloud-based service that helps customers to plan their migration of AWS, identifying the IT assets running on their on-premises data centers, including servers, virtual machines, software applications, that allows customers to create a detailed inventory of their IT assets and dependencies, which can then used for to plan for the execution of the migration to the AWS. So this is very important that first you discover the services, how many servers you have, how many virtual machines you have, how many hardware pieces you have, so what is the power consumption you have, so what is the all these details you have to have first. Then you can make the detailed plan on that and look for the calculation on the AWS. So this service use lightweight agents, so you have to install the agents on your servers and the virtual machines, like install the servers and the virtual machines in the on-premises environment to collect the data on the IT assets and their dependencies. So how many IT assets you have, what is the dependencies they have, what is the databases you have, applications are running, all this information. The agents collects the data on the hardware and software configuration of each asset, as well as the network connections and dependencies between assets. The data is then sent securely to the AWS Application Discovery Service, where it is processed and stored in a centralized repository. Then you can understand that what is the required services you have to have on cloud and what is the cost associated with that services. So that's the application discovery can help you to identify the price. AWS price list API, that is one of the service you can actually programmatically access that service to get the information, right? Whenever you want to data, which is actually the RESTful API, can give you the details. List API is a programmatic way to access and retrieve the pricing information for AWS services and products. It is RESTful API that provides programmatic access to the same price meta information that is available in AWS price list API files, which are available for download from AWS website. So what this API give? Real-time pricing information for AWS services and products, allowing customers to programmatically retrieve the latest price and make more informed decisions. Like you can take the more informed decisions on that particular thing, like you get the real-time information over that. And customizable queries, you can use the JSON format querying for here and retrieving the information from the AWS services with the specific usage of scenarios, how you required for that reserved instances or spot instances, all these calculations. Easy integration. So example, say if you want to integrate this with your existing applications or the workflows, or allowing customers to automate pricing related tasks, like make more efficient use of their resources. You can calculate this, query the information. Okay, if my budget is increase so and so, then stop the instance for a certain time. So which are not important for me, right? That way you can reduce the cost, or you can get to know what is your cost and all. So it also give you the programmatic access to automate your services. So that is very important that you get the programmatic access to that particular server, the API calls. Okay, let's see, jump into the AWS and see how you can basically do the estimate. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that I'm going to here and say AWS pricing estimate, and now we can go to this calculator, the pricing calculator, which actually gives you the detailed information about the how you can calculate the pricing. So let's go and create the estimate. Let's say search by location type, search all services. So if you want to search by location, example, which region you want, basically, I want a local region to be to save the cost, like Asia Pacific. Then which services you want to use. Example, say here, I would like to say EC2 instances I would like to use for some time, right? Configure the EC2 instance. So what type of EC2 instances you are going to use, how many instances you want, right? Whether it is a Linux operating system, Windows operating system, or shared instance, or dedicated instance, right? Dedicated host, what it is, right? Example, say I would like to use particularly shared instances for nav and constant usage, daily spikes. Example, if you have the daily spikes or weekly spike or monthly spike, example, you have some daily scheduled jobs. So my server will spike around 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. Right? Example, if you want to configure that spikes, when your spikes are going to be, right? So example, say my most of the spikes will go in the weekend. Okay, then how many peaks you have? So maximum number of instances, workloads, how many you have to enter, and duration of the peak hours, how many hours or minutes it's going to be, right? Let's say my it's going to be around 2 hours 30 minutes spike daily these days, right? And how many CPUs you want? So instance family you have to select. Example, say I want something like a medium one, like 2 CPU cores, 4 GB, something like this. Then how many years you wanted to go with? You want to go with the savings plans, on demand, or spot instances, what you want. So say on demand pricing here. Or if you go to this one, upfront cost is going to be 251. If you pay all upfront, you don't need to pay anything for next year. Example, so this one. For I want this one for next 3 years, all upfront cost I'm going to pay for this. Next, say save and add the service, right? If you want to add any more services to this one, example, say that I am going to use the S3 for my storing the data, right? S3 example, say that Glacier deep archive I would like to use it. So enter the amount you are going to transfer for the like 1000 GB I will transfer every month, right? S3 Glacier, so deep archive, object size. What is the object size? It's going to be like 160 MB. One particular object might be going to be in that case, right? Let's say S3 here, and how many post requests you have. So let's say I post something like 10,000 requests. So how many restore requests you have? Maybe a two, not much. You have any bulk request and all? So you have to provide all of this data, like data transfer from to all this stuff, and add the request. Now after that, you can just click on the view summary, and you can see that EC2 instance how much it's going to cost. Monthly cost is going to be $7. It's almost $7.74, and storage cost is going to be 2.70 for the S3 what you have selected. So if you pay upfront cost, it's all going to be zero. The 12 months cost is going to be like $125.26. So that's the price estimates you can get, and you can also import as a PDF or CSV and anything. Then you can say like this, and it will give you the cost estimate in detail. So what you are going to use and which region you are going to use, what services you are going to use, all this stuff. So that's how you can calculate a pricing model or the pricings estimates before you actually put anything on the AWS to get a view of how much does it cost for my environment to be migrated from on-premises to the cloud. So that's all about this video. Thanks for watching. Please press the like button if you like this video, and put the comment what is your feedback on this video. So thanks for watching. Share on your social media. It does not even cost you a single penny or single rupee for share. Click on the share button and put it on your social media, any like Facebook or Instagram or anywhere else. So that actually helps me a lot to create more such a videos here. Thanks again. Thanks for watching.